The whole album was pretty cathartic. I think something I've come to realize though is that like catharsis is temporary, right? And especially things to do with family, they come back. It's like cyclical, you know? Like I still haven't talked to my parents for 2 or 3 years now, and I'm pretty happy with that decision.
Going fully independent, anti-capitalism as a creative, and navigating family estrangement. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Jasmine, and you're listening to Culture Club. This is our monthly interview where we sit down with a guest to chat all things life, culture, and creativity.
Today, we are on the lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nations. We would like to pay our respects to elders past and present and extend this to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander listeners today.
Today's guest is Jessica Serro, aka Montaigne. Montaigne is one of Australia's most distinct and exciting musicians. The 30-year-old has a certified platinum hit, an ARIA's Breakthrough Artist of the Year title, and represented Australia on the Eurovision stage. They also compose music for video games. Montaigne released their 4th studio album, It's Hard to Be a Fish, last year, and is about to head out on tour very soon. It's so nice to be sitting down with you in our Melbourne studio in person. Before we get into the interview, I actually need to flag that we have met before. Super briefly, a whole decade ago, when I was a runner on one of your music videos.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was working with Pixel on What You Mean to Me.
Oh, beautiful.
So there you go. I
That's
literally
so
was
funny.
like your pseudo assistant. Remember I got your salad? I went
A little
and
vegan salad.
found some Doc Martens on Chapel Street for you for the shoot.
Right. Oh, okay.
And I was doing
I
all the
remember
little runner
that.
jobs.
I do remember that. Wow. Okay, that's
What
awesome.
a small world.
Isn't that crazy? It's like 10 years ago. That's
so crazy.
nuts. Yeah.
It does not feel like I was thinking about it. I was like, wait, that was actually 10 years ago. Like how serendipitous that we're having this chat 10 years on. But it feels like, I reckon, 6, 7.
Yeah.
6
Well,
cents.
I feel
Sorry.
I feel like the only thing that really, well, you know, a lot has happened in 10 years, but the thing that makes me be like, no, 10 years has passed is like, I'm so much more mentally healthy than I was back then now. You know what I mean? It's like the 10 years has done wonders for, for my like self-esteem.
The frontal lobe is developed.
Literally, yeah.
Because you were super young, right? Like 20?
Very young. I was,
when-
I think, 20, turning that year, like 10 years ago, 21.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was a hot mess around then. 18 to 22 was chaos.
Yeah.
And then it got better after that.
And that's with the debut of Glorious Heights. Just like getting kind of thrown into the music industry.
It was part that, and also just like I have sometimes a chaotic mind. I think also I'm very high functioning at the same time. It's a bit of both. And that still holds to this day. But I think like back then it was very like struggling with like insecurity, you know, and also just not knowing who I was, right? Like in the last 10 years or since then to now, like now I know I'm non-binary. Now I know how I like want to dress and present myself. Now I know what kind of music exactly I want to make, you know, that kind of stuff where I think some people like Billie Eilish, for example, I feel like you turn 14 or whatever and you know exactly what kind of person you are and what you want to do and you're supported in that and all that stuff, right? I was not when I was that age or when I was younger. Like I had no idea like who I was or what I wanted. And I'm still to this day as well, I get very caught up in like what other people are doing. And I'm like, oh, they're doing that and that's cool. So maybe I should do that. You know, like I'm still get lost to that thinking. I really have to check myself sometimes, but like still better than it was then. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's so relatable regardless of what stage we're at, and always like kind of looking around us and seeing what other people are doing and getting lost in that sometimes. But even looking recently, you were living in Sydney, now you live in Melbourne. You also got engaged kind of recently, so congrats.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
How are you kind of finding this new kind of period of your life?
It's good. You know, additional to the two things you just mentioned as well is that like I've gone completely independent the last couple of years as a musician and an artist, which like at the beginning, like the sort of day I left my management and my label, there was like both immense like relief and the feeling that I was now in control of my own destiny, and also like I've never like been an adult basically, like because I started when I was 18, like I signed management and label when I was 18, so for my entire adult life until 2 years ago like someone had always looked after my accounting and bookkeeping. Someone had always like been doing every single email for me that wasn't just a yes or no from me. Someone was always like reaching out to press and PR and like labels and not labels too, like publishing and you know, all that stuff, right? And so that was a big deal, like having to figure that out for 2 years. And now I kind of feel like I'm there. So now I feel like it's going well, you know, like I've learned a lot in the last couple of years. And I do have a really good support network. Like, because the other aspect of like leaving my, like the institutions that were supporting me 2 years ago was like, I had to actually just like hit up like dozens of people and just say, can you help me and figure out how to do this thing? But because of that, like asking for the help, now I know, and those people did help and they did give me advice and, you know, all that stuff. I now know I can just like ask people for things. And honestly, that's most of what management is. Like it's very time consuming, which is, I think, why a lot of artists won't do it for themselves, right? Because I think most people just want to stick to the art. And some days I wake up and I'm like, man, I wish I was just like making music every single day, you know? But I was about to say it's easy. It's not easy. Like I think you have to have the confidence to reach out to people and also like the know-how enough, which I've had from like doing this for 12 years to like know what to say, right? And how to say it and all that stuff. And people already know me, so I have that advantage and all that stuff. Anyway, this is all to say it's going well. And it has its challenges, but like all careers, all pathways have challenges. It's just about the challenges you choose, you know, and I feel good about these ones. And yeah, I just do have a really good support network. Like my fiance, who's awesome, and you know, family, friends, all of it. And I love Melbourne as well. And I'm really glad I moved here because, I just vibes wise, it's great. But also I think like I lived in Sydney my whole life and sometimes you need a change of scenery. I think.
True.
Yeah.
And I feel like 29, 30 is the perfect age to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm also turning 30 this year. And it just feels like you realize it's actually not that old and actually it's a whole,
You're
you feel
reborn as a baby again.
Yeah, you really do. Like
it's actually crazy.
You have all this experience from your 20s and you're like, okay, now I know what to do with it and go forward. And so it feels exciting, like a whole new decade. So.
Yeah. It is, I talk a lot about like the age stuff with my partner nowadays because I think I did when I was like 24 or whatever. I was like, once I've hit 30, like, you know, I have to sort things out before then or whatever, you know, the thing. I think a lot of people in their 20s do feel that way. And I don't, like I was talking about, I'm so much more secure than I used to be. I feel so much more ready to do stuff now than I did back then, you know, and I have more like focus and direction, you know, like I actually know how to allocate and focus my like efforts and my energy.
And the age thing is very pertinent for the Australian music industry as well. Like that's a whole other layer that is added on to like age and sexism and ageism, all the isms.
Yeah.
But you're feeling excited.
Yeah, I feel excited. I think part of that's because I sort of, I don't want to say I exist outside of the industry because it's not entirely true. And I definitely want to belong to, you know, a broader like coalition of artists and music activity, right? But at the same time, like being independent, I'm not with a label. I'm with an independent publisher. I am with independent distribution. I'm friends with like a lot of independent artists and all of them are sort of doing their own thing outside of what like the gatekeepers and like the stakeholders, well, I guess have control over, you know what I mean? And so I don't think about that stuff as much because I don't rely on it economically, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, my goals are to like have a direct connection with my audience and have my audience be how, you know, I build capital or whatever, you know, like when I say build capital, I have no grand ambition to become like Taylor Swift level billionaire, but like to just like live well, you know, like, and again, I guess the criteria of well for me is like pay all my bills comfortably, sometimes go on a holiday, do my work full time. Like, you know, I'm not searching for luxury or anything. Yeah. So I personally am not worried about that stuff just because, yeah, again, I exist outside of like the biases that govern like the economy of music, I think. And again, like in doing so, I do sacrifice some of the economy, right? Like there are opportunities I don't get and money I don't make by existing outside of it. But at least I am free of that concern, right? Of that fear, which is good.
Yeah, I think that's so refreshing because I think in so many industries, and I assume music as well, it from the outside looks like there's one track to success, or success has to look one certain way.
Yes, exactly.
And also, sorry, similar to what Jas said at the start about like a chance encounter, I actually interviewed you back in 2021. This was so long. I actually sometimes hate it when people say things like that to me. I'm like, I have no memory of that. But that was for Refinery 29, and we talked about how you were making music for video games predominantly. But you also gave me a quote. You said, quote, "I don't know that I want to be a pop star anymore. I mostly just want to be a music artist."
Yeah, right.
Does that ring true?
Yes. To you? Yeah, no, 100%. I remember that. Yeah, like I have no ambitions to be like super duper famous or to make $1 million. I literally just want to do my job. Like I just want to do the work that I love doing and be comfortable in it, which is, I think, what the majority of people want, you know, like, yeah. And I like what you said about, you know, defining what success is and what is worth pursuing. I think like a lot of the time, the feeling is that you will only be successful in music if you achieve that like charting level success where you're selling like 100,000 albums or whatever. You're getting billions, if not like millions, if not billions of streams on like the streaming platforms and stuff like that, you know. And I think congrats to everyone who's achieved that. And if that's what you want, go get it. Like, let's go. Oftentimes that goal is also dictated either by like an American mentality where like those people have no welfare and no like safety net. So they have to go for broke, you know what I mean? Yeah. Figuratively speaking, and or like labels dictate that goal because the labels want to make $1 bajillion, you know, for their corporation, which is, you know, I don't know, just like some handful of guys at the top who are getting richer and richer by the year, and I don't really care about lining their pockets. So my goal is, to just like support myself, and myself doesn't need that much. Like if you don't have to be like the financial provider for like this grand project or personal history or whatever, you can just set your goals at very medium levels, you know, and find success. I think the trade-off though is that the way I do my career is very like, again, in touch with my fans and very forthcoming and very chatty and expressive. And like, if you are the kind of person who kind of wants to keep themselves very private and all that stuff, that is a bit harder in 2026, I think. Mm-hmm. But I do like that there is an opportunity in this day and age to do things quite independently and be okay.
We feel that as two freelancers as well.
Yeah. And well, speaking of as well, like just doing things on your own terms in your own way. So last year, your album, It's Hard to Be a Fish, that was the first album you did completely, fully independent. What was that experience in comparison to your other albums and having that put out into the world?
Again, I think it was mostly just that it was like very hard work. Like it was a lot of work. I had support, which was really nice, from Hugh Nolan and Isaiah Cirillo, which is good, from like Here for Good, this sort of agency. That was really nice, but it was still a lot of work for me to do, which I didn't have to do before. The flip side is that I had a lot of control. So whenever I noticed like a ball was dropped, I could then pick it up, or, you know, that sort of thing, where I think sometimes when I was with Sony or like in Wonderlic and stuff, like balls would get dropped that I wasn't aware of, and then things would just fall through. And then, you know, someone, if I'd been aware, maybe I would have gone to pick it up, and I couldn't because I wasn't aware. So that was the nice thing about releasing the album independently. And I think also like every single comment you get from someone being I love this album is so meaningful, because to get to that person without the massive like label budget to cover like ad spend and billboards and posters and like all the various things that are spent on, and to still get like ears on it, is so special. It feels so much more special. So it was a really wonderful experience, but it was a lot of work. It was way more work than like I thought, at least as far as like, I don't know, it's just crazy how many things you have to organize. You know, like I'm doing like this anniversary tour this year,
Yeah.
and it's the first like major national tour that I've ever organized by myself because I don't have management. And just for the announce, it's like nuts the number of things I've had to organize. I realized like the poster, all the social media assets, like potential like anniversary merch, getting that printed, getting it designed, planning the announce itself, like where I'm posting on social media, how I'm posting on each platform. And then of course the actual logistics of the tour itself, like which venues, budgets. Like I did a budget for the first time, like a full budget for the first time for a tour in my whole life. And I was like, I was actually really proud of myself for finishing it because I'm not a math or money. I'm not that person at all. And my partner helped me a lot. Like he's like a wizard at spreadsheets. It's actually crazy. Again, it's like, it's not stuff that's hard. It's just stuff that is a lot of stuff that you have to get done within like a 2 to 3 month deadline. Also, that's not the only thing I'm doing right now. you know, like I'm also like, I have my Patreon and I'm doing my social media, like just posting regular social media, and I'm like doing some songs for video games still and stuff, and like, sort of stuff. But yeah, I think like I'm lucky because I'm high functioning and I like doing this stuff and I want it to work. So, and again, like, it's that thing of like, being at a stage in my life where I'm so sort of solid in here and I understand myself, and I'm not like, I understand that when I'm having a meltdown, it doesn't have to be like a thing that feels like it's going to go for forever. Like I had a meltdown probably 2-3 weeks ago, and it probably lasted about 5 days. And the whole time I was like, I know this is just because I'm stressed. It's going to be okay. I'll get back up. I'm just actually going to chill out for a few days, and it's not going to matter too much if I don't get like a bajillion things done within this 5 days. And then it was fine. And then like I'm back on the horse again, you know? So, but yeah, music career is crazy. I think the worst part is that you're doing it all in the public eye. Is like, it would be a different thing if I was just like struggling or like pushing through all of this and no one was paying attention to me, you know what I mean? But it's like sometimes, especially me, I'm like a bit of an oversharer and I want to tell people how I feel, you know what I mean? And sometimes like, maybe I shouldn't tell people everything because you're going to think I'm out of control. Because especially people only see on the algorithms like the sensational stuff. Like people will probably see me having a meltdown far more often than they see me just like being like normal. You know what I mean? Anyway,
Going back to It's Hard to Be Fish, one of the lead singles is It's All About the Money. And obviously it touches on a lot of what we've been talking about, like the music industry and money, but also touches on family dynamics and parental estrangement.
Yeah.
Was it cathartic for you to turn that experience into one of the lead singles?
It was. I really like that song. It's a bop. And it really said a lot of the things that I wanted to say, which is good. The whole album was pretty cathartic. I think something I've come to realize though is that like catharsis is temporary, right? And especially things to do with family, they come back. It's like cyclical, you know? Like I still haven't talked to my parents for 2 or 3 years now. And I'm pretty happy with that decision still. And I think I will probably be for a long time, if not forever. But that doesn't mean I don't sort of like wish I had supportive parents. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, again, supportive is an interesting word because like in some sense they do support me. Do they support me for who I am? I don't think so. Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing about like writing those songs in that album is like it almost feels like the final word on how I feel about this stuff, but like my feelings around that situation are never going to end or cease. I'm never going to stop thinking about it, you know, like I spend heaps of days not thinking about it all, but then, you know, especially when I enter my luteal phase, I'm like, sometimes I'm a bit more reflective and a bit more like, oh, it's a bit, you know, painful and stuff. So I don't know, but I think I'm very glad I wrote the songs. I feel very proud of them. I feel good that I get to talk about it in public now because it was something that I was, you know, not like completely hiding, but like pretty much hiding for like most of my career. Despite like a lot of my songs having been about my parents before I was even acknowledging it, you know? Yeah, I think I'm glad I did it. I think it's important. I think a lot of people struggle with their families, especially queer people, and especially people, I think, I don't want to like, well, like my mom's from the Philippines and my dad's from Argentina. Like, zooming in on the Philippines aspect is like her family's gone through like a lot of trauma. Like Philippines was colonized and like her dad was Spanish and her mom was Filipino. So there was like racist dynamics between the two of them there. And then also he was like physically abusive to my grandma and then she fled like and the kids felt abandoned by their mother and was left with this man. And like, you know, there's a lot of complexity there. And I think like when like people's families emerge from like war or class struggle or poverty or like these kinds of like historical traumas, a lot of people go through that. And it's kind of, I think this generation speaks about it a bit more and has a bit more of awareness about it. I think maybe in previous times, people would just be like, my mom's just crazy, you know, she's just, you know, and I'm glad I have that awareness of it now because I do empathize with my mom and it sucks that she went through all of that. I do also think people need to be held accountable for like repeated poor behavior. It's like you can't just say, but I'm traumatized and then like be awful to people. You know, you actually have to like correct that, I think. I feel proud of making the album because hopefully people who have similar experiences to me also feel a catharsis from me talking about this stuff. Yeah.
Did you have like an overarching message, I guess, you wanted to get out with the album as a whole?
I think it was very personal. So it was kind of just me indulging myself a little bit and saying
as
like,
you should.
Yeah, but I think maybe the other thing as well is like, because there's a few songs on there, I guess that like touch on capitalism and don't touch on climate change per se, but like make reference to it and stuff. And I think like what I would want people to take away from it, though I don't know if it's such a clear message when you listen to the album, but that like capitalism is like a really broken system that traumatizes people and creates these personal fractures. I think that's one thing. Especially like my parents would use a lot of like capitalist rhetoric to bully me, you know, like, oh God, I remember when I started doing a music career and I was like 18 and my mom was like, Will.i.am works 18 hours a day. Whatever. She'd be like, he only sleeps for 6 hours and he works 18 hours. You need to be working for 18 hours a day. I was like, that sounds fucking insane. But then you'd say that to her and she'd be like, it's not. That's just what you have to do. I'm like, that's bullshit. That's actual bullshit. I now work anywhere between like 2 and 8 hours a day. Most of the time it's like an average of 4 to 5 hours. And I still get heaps of shit done because I'm fucking rested the other like, you know, 65, 70% of the time. It's like you actually need rest. Like people who just grind it out are like, that's not a good strategy. So that's like part of it is just I don't think like capitalism actually teaches us very sustainable skills or ways of viewing the world and proceeding with our lives. And that can really convince especially older generations, you know, like they think you're not working hard enough. It's like, well, you know, cost of living is rising, wages are not. Like, I don't know that it's just like a hard work type situation. That's part of it. And then also just like, I don't know. I think what I wanted to convey with the album as well is that like the world is a very beautiful place despite the horrors as well. And I would want to preserve whatever I can of that amid the horrors, you know, like I guess that's something I think about a lot is like there's always going to be forces for destruction and the forces for creation, and it's good to acknowledge the forces of destruction and then try to propel the forces of creation. Yeah.
Kind of like looping back the What You Mean to Me video clip. It's very, very like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So speaking of like you have a lot of influence with video games in your music and you also compose music for video games. Is that correct?
Yeah, more and more nowadays. Yeah.
What's the biggest difference between creating music for Montaigne and then creating music for video games? Does it feel like it's using two different parts of your brain? Is it fun to get to play in different spaces?
Yeah.
And like also on the album, there's like it's video game sounds throughout, I think.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
It is different because like Montaigne is an ego project and making stuff for other people's briefs on video games is very easy because I can just shut the part of my brain that's like, is this even me, or is it like good enough for Montaigne or whatever? Like, yeah, when I'm working to a brief, I'm like, well, it needs to sound approximately like the references that they've given me, and I like making music, so I'll just do that. I think also like writing lyrics is a very personal thing, and you don't tend to have to do that with video games, and even when you do, it's not as personal. I think it's that personal aspect that changes the difficulty. So yeah, I really enjoy making music for video games. I think it's really fun, especially because I get to like paint with like brush strokes and with colors that I don't usually do in my music. Or like sometimes I might a little bit, but especially the stuff I've been working on, like I'm doing this like trailer song for an Australian game. Yeah, it's got lyrics and stuff, but it's like kind of meant to be for kids, and that's really nice. Like I kind of just let go of any like adult pretentiousness I had and just like went for it. And the song is really nice and a different style to what I would usually release, but I think still really special. Yeah. But with the Montaigne stuff, like I increasingly, now that I produce things myself as well, now that I get to make choices and start putting sounds in there and do a bit of design, like, yeah, definitely, like there's some Kingdom Hearts like samples in there. It's funny because, well, it's not funny, but like Pink Pantheress just released that song with Zara Larsson. That's got a Kingdom Hearts sound in it. And I was like, when I heard it for the first time, I was like, what?
Wait, what part?
It's like a potion sound. It's like 3/4 of the way through the song or something. It's literally just a one-off. She does it one time. And it's just like a little sparkly little sound. Yeah.
Because especially with your latest album, I felt like, as Jas said, the different influences of video games are so like prominent in it. And the way I'll describe it, it feels like the different layers and textures that have been put in, they feel like almost like side characters or side worlds. Like I could imagine just like, I don't know, on sheet music or something, and then just like there's a whole, I don't know, different universes that stem from your music. I feel like you're really amazing at world building.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like I got that a lot in the album.
Definitely tried to do that. I think I went really deep on what kind of landscape I wanted the album to evoke. Like I had a lot of Pinterest boards. I had a lot of docs like describing things. And yeah, I feel pretty proud of that album.
I'm a writer by trade, and I found with creating things, we're kind of boxed in as children, I think, like, or as young adults, like you're a writer, you're an artist, you're a musician. And I found with creative projects, the enjoyment of like using different mediums to help create, like using imagery and using, like Pinterest boards and stuff. So it's interesting that, it's for musicians as well. Like all creative types can like find something from that.
100%. Well, I think I'm very like, I think like my inner, like the thoughts I have are very visual, you know, especially when I'm listening to music. Like I don't think I have synesthesia, but I think I very much visualize things, when I'm listening to stuff. And so it's very important to me. Maybe it's like the playing so many video games, watching a lot of film is like, to me, well, I want to make music that's somewhat like cinematic or that could underscore a scene, you know what I mean? I think also I didn't love the nature of reality or my reality when I was growing up. And so I think like creating this otherworldliness in writing or music or whatever was important to me. Like I think it's important to a lot of people. Again, anyone that struggles, which is kind of everyone in the world, I think could benefit from like trying to imagine a different type of world. Because I think like, I don't know, I think of like Ursula K. Le Guin, and she's like one of my favorite novelists. And she, for example, in The Dispossessed, there's a book about like the scientists on this anarchist planet. It's like a moon of a planet that got colonized by the anarchists who didn't want to live under capitalism anymore. So the capitalists were like, well, our trade-off is we'll put you on that moon. You get to live how you like. So there's this anarchist colony. But the protagonist of this book is a scientist who really wants to like push the frontiers of science, and he's very smart and he wants to do all this research. But because anarchism on this colony like is more about just like sustainable living, everyone doing their part, like you do get to have your hobbies and stuff like that. But you know, maybe they're not like putting that much like resources into like furthering science or like this specific science that he's working on because it's not actually that important to their society or whatever. Anyway, that's just sort of the premise of the book. He sort of wants to go to this capitalist planet to try and see if he can study further and stuff. But that book is so wonderful, and all of her books are so wonderful because it imagines like a system that is actually different to the one we have. You know, it's so funny. Like, I don't know, I'm just thinking of like all those movies and texts that like, Zootopia 2.
Oh, I love it. I wax lyrical about it on the podcast. I don't know how you felt about it.
Zootopia 2. We were like, it's so crazy that in this like utopian animal world, there is still like class disparity.
Oh yeah, there's displacement, there's colonialism, it's crazy.
Yeah. Literally, it's like, it's actually just capitalism but animals. And it's like, that's the best you could think of for like a utopia. Like that's actually crazy. I think children and people growing up in this world and adults like deserve to like consume texts that say, what if we did things this way instead? Even if like this way isn't like ultimately the superior way, it's like we can just imagine little aspects of our lives being slightly better or slightly different. And I think that's a really important exercise. So I do admire when artists, and I strive to do this myself as an artist, when they try to imagine something other than the ordinary or other than, you know, what we are used to, you know. I think it's really important. Yeah.
And I totally feel like that's, at least again from the outside, that's how you've carved out your music career. Like you're not playing it by the book, you're not boxed into one thing, but I feel like you're making it your own entirely. So, because, you know, you do Patreon, you do Twitch, like there's so many other things that are part of your, I guess, job description, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Job's a funny word to apply to my life. But just because like it is all work, but it is all kind of like, I guess what we're talking about, it doesn't feel like it resembles traditional work, I guess. And yeah, I like it that way. I do like it that way. Even though it is a lot, it is technically each thing is a job. Like running the Patreon, doing Twitch streaming, being a music artist, doing composing, all that stuff are all their own jobs. And I will say it is, again, a lot. But at the same time, I have the benefit and privilege of like working for myself. And so there's no boss to tell me, no, you have to work on this day. If I'm having a really shitty day, I just have a shitty day and I don't do anything, which is like amazing and a massive privilege. But it is. I wish everyone could have that, you know? It's like, I think everyone should just work for like 4 hours a day, maybe 5 times a week, maybe 4 times a week, whatever. Because I mean, there's lots of like academics and people who write books and are much more qualified to talk about this and actually have done research about this. But I feel like there's a contingent of people who've said like people would actually be much more productive if they worked less, you know? It would actually be better even for the corporations, like if their workers were working less. But I do think, I don't know what it is that keeps companies working their workers for that amount of time each week. I don't know if it is actually that like that is what is required in order for them to reach their quotas or whatever, or if it's literally just like a cultural mentality of like working hard means more time, you know, because there's a lot of like, it's like that Will I Am thing where it's like working 18 hours a day is like the moral and virtuous thing to do. And it's like, it doesn't fucking work. Like, what are you talking about? Like, why are we... That's stupid.
And you can feel the difference as well when you like push yourself to work like 9, 10, 11, 12 hours versus like a focused 5 hours. You can feel it in your brain, 100%. Your body, like everything.
Yeah, it's draining. And like, you know, I just don't think our bodies are meant to do that, you know? Yeah, we're
not machines. We're people.
No, exactly.
This is all very on brand for culture.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time.
We talk about work, we talk about creativity, so very on theme.
Nice.
But changing tact a little, it has been a couple of years since your amazing Eurovision experience.
It's actually been like 5 years.
Half a decade.
Crazy.
It doesn't, because it was COVID, so it feels like it was not long ago.
100%. Yeah.
So can you talk us through what that experience was like for you? Or
yeah.
how you're feeling about it 5 years on?
Yeah, it was funny. I did Australia Decides because I was like, well, that's not something I've ever done before. So I'll do it. I like to do stuff that I haven't done before. And I was like, performing on TV, perfecting like 3 minutes of stage time, trying to like win a competition or whatever. I was also raised an athlete, so there's a part of me that is quite competitive. I mean, my dad was a professional athlete, and then I didn't really expect to actually get selected for it. But that was like cool as well because I like to win. And then, obviously got called off or postponed.
In 2020.
Yeah, for obvious reasons. And yeah, I think like 2021, I'm glad I did it again, I guess. I think in retrospect, maybe like turning into 2 years of my life was a bit long. And I think the thing I discovered as well while doing Eurovision was that I'm not equipped to do Eurovision. It's like, I don't have the mentality for it. You have to have like the pop star, very polished, very sanitized sort of brand for it. I mean, not always. Sometimes you get people like Bambi Thug and, Hatari and stuff doing it, but also those people get punished for speaking their minds and actually living their brands when they do it. So I think that's sort of what I felt was I'm not the kind of person who has like a media ready personality. I'm kind of just me.
Yeah.
And I didn't go through training, and I also don't want to go through media training because I'm not looking to like preserve capital. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I like, if I have to say the thing that destroys my capital potential, I will.
Yeah.
For the benefit of a cause that I care about, for example, Palestine. That wasn't an issue at the time of Eurovision. I wasn't, honestly, even aware of the conflict. I only became aware of the conflict after October 7. I wasn't aware of the situation. And like I'd heard, it was one of those things where like I never went deeper into investigating what was going over in that part of the world because people would always say like it's too complicated for anyone to like really understand unless you're part of this yourself, if you have a stake in it. I didn't have a stake in it. So I was like, I'm just going to, and then after all that happened, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, this isn't actually too complicated, I think, to understand. Anyway, but yeah, I feel weird about Eurovision now because of the stance it has taken in regards to the genocide in Palestine. Like I think it's pretty gross, and I think a lot of people feel that way too.
Yeah.
A lot of the audience are pretty tapped out. They'll probably still have great success with it this year, but my feeling is I don't really want to be associated with it anymore. I get a lot of people asking like, are you going to go back to Eurovision? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No, especially if they don't sort this shit out. Like,
Yeah.
that's not happening. So I don't know. It is a bit of a weird thing. I'm glad it happened because it did introduce me to like a new audience, right? That's cool. It was also like a pretty strenuous thing. People are very judgmental because it's a competition, and it encourages this sort of like tribalism, I guess, where it's like my person that I'm going to vote for is way better than your person. Your person is like shit or whatever, or it's like, I think the thing I feel about like the kind of also mean behavior that happens from fans in Eurovision is like, you can like be competitive without being mean. I don't know why you're doing it. like no one has to do it. I have my opinions about who's like good and maybe not so good in Eurovision, but I don't fucking shit on them. Like I don't say it publicly online about like, saying I think this person did a shit job, I think, there's a lot of that online though, a lot of people just saying exactly what they think, thinking like, it doesn't matter what kind of energy I'm putting out in the world. It's like, I think it does. But also, I can't stop you. So whatever. Yeah.
And they're not the ones on the Eurovision stage. They are at home.
Yeah. They're not in the arena,
they don't have
as Brene
stakes.
Brown would say. Yeah. I was don't worry about it.
No, oh my gosh, we could keep talking, I think, for a long time, but we are up to our final question, Montaigne. Thank you so much for coming on Culture Club today. But every week on our podcast, Jas and I share a recommendation from our week, something that we've either liked listening to, reading, or watching. We wonder if we could ask you what's on your list.
Yes. Listening, I finally got into Jubilee by Japanese Breakfast. I don't know if you guys know that album. Came out like 4 or 5 years ago now, I think. I always see it floating around. Like it's one of these big indie albums. It won like, I think, Best Breakthrough at the Grammys, like when it came out or something like that. But whenever I heard her voice, I was like, oh, it's not really, like, it's an amazing voice, but it's not really to my taste. And then because I've like started going to the gym a lot, every time I go to the gym, I try to listen to an album. And I finally was like, I'm going to give it a try. And I was actually like, wow, this is actually really good. And now, like, I feel like I've come around to her voice. It's kind of like when I got into Björk as like a 17-year-old or whatever. The first time I heard it, I was like, what? 5 listens later, I was like, this is like the best voice ever. So that's a really good album. Movie, me and my partner are doing the Oscars death race. So we are watching a lot of movies right now. And I really liked Hamnet. And
so good.
Yeah. It was really beautiful. And I really liked It Was Just an Accident, which is up for best international feature. That one was really good and pretty short. So if people don't have the attention span for like a 2 to 3 hour movie, I think it was less than 2 hours. I can't remember. It felt like less than 2 hours because it was just really pacey and really good. Anyway, that was a good one. And then I'm currently reading Is a River Alive by Robert something. And it's a really good book about rivers and about the way we treat rivers in the modern day and how important they are. I'm only a couple chapters in. It talks about like the rights of nature sort of campaign that is sort of going around the globe, which is about like trying to advocate legally for nature and saying like, you know, you can't cut this forest down because it has rights as a being, basically, which is awesome and has like gotten a lot of environmental wins. Very beautifully written prose. So that's a really good book. And then video games, I am still playing Hades 2, if that means anything to anyone. I've clocked like over 100 hours in it. It's really fun. I've almost 100%ed the game. It's really good. And also Animal Crossing because there was a new update. I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing. So yeah,
I love the variation of the recommendations. Something for everyone.
Yeah,
we've had over 200 episodes. I think that's the first video game rec.
Really?
Feels wild. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm here to represent the community.
Montaigne, by the time this comes out, you'll be announced your tour dates.
I believe so.
So could you please share that your national tour with our audience?
Yeah, so as we were speaking about, Glorious Heights is 10 years old this year, which is weird to think about, but it is. Which is my first album. And so I'm doing a 10th anniversary national Australian tour, going to like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, Wollongong, I believe Newcastle, Castlemaine in Victoria, and Frankston. And I think that may be all of them. But tickets are on sale now. It's going to be really fun. Hopefully a couple guest appearances at some places. And it's just going to be fun. You know, those songs are very anthemic and I'm really looking forward to going back to them. And I'll play some new stuff as well. But yeah, it's going to be a fun time.
I think I saw the first tour for that at the Corner Hotel.
Awesome. Well, we're going to be at the Corner in Melbourne again.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's going to be so trippy. Like, exactly 10 years on.
I know.
That's so special.
I'm super excited. I'm actually going there after this to just suss it.
One of your many hats and jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, scouting locations. Getting the specs. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks
it was
for having
so lovely chatting with you. And if people want to hear more from you, where can they find you?
As I said, I have a Patreon. That's mostly for like real super fans, but like if you want to know more about me and my brain and what's going on, I post on there a lot. Social media, Actual Montaigne on pretty much everything. And I also Twitch stream, also at Actual Montaigne. Try to do every Thursday night. It's been a bit busy this year, but usually Thursday nights. And if you subscribe there, you can stay in touch with when I'm going live anyway. And I believe that's it. Yeah.
And we'll link them all as well as the tour in our show notes.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye.